We want to thank you for being here and to our course, taking your e-learning for a walk and a nice biscuit because you may as well enjoy your nice biscuit while you're learning something. I'm really happy today to be presenting. I'm Lydia. I'm one of the owners of Redwood and really happy to be presenting with my co-presenters here, and I'll have them introduce themselves.
Hi everybody, my name is Jillian Ritzy. I am the director of the IDEAS program at the University of Toronto. IDEAS is a quality improvement training program for Ontario's healthcare professionals.
And my name is Carol Ann Chesson. I'm the Director of Client Services at Closing the Gap Healthcare. Closing the Gap Healthcare is a provider of healthcare services primarily in the home, and we employ many personal support workers.
So we're going to look at the objectives of why you're here today. So the first thing is we're going to look at why the worst thing you want to hear is I'll get to it when I have a free moment. We all know that people are busy. They don't have a lot of free moments. We know the difference between mandated and non-mandated courses, and it's often a challenge enough to get people to do the mandated courses, let alone the non-mandated. So let's look at how we help people through that. We're going to look at the challenges of designing learning for Ontario's personal support people, who are people on the go, people with different challenges all the time, and how we helped address that. And we really, by doing that, we really wanted to see what is it that personal support workers really wanted in a learning program. And we also came up with the aha moment that made quality improvement achievable, and we're going to walk you through that. And lastly, what we want to leave you with is the 5 must-dos for creating learning for a workforce that's constantly in motion and on the go. So how do we start with, I'll get to it when I have a free moment, when people have such busy schedules and so much to do and multitask and trying to balance life, work, and all that. How do you get to it when you have a free moment? How do you entice them to do the learning?
In the last decade, the number of people receiving home care in Canada has grown considerably. Many home care recipients are seniors with chronic conditions and physical or cognitive limitations who want to stay in their homes as long as possible. By 2013, it's projected that the number of seniors aged 65 and over will more than double from 1.9 million, or 14.2% of population in 2011, to 4.2 million, or 23.6% by 2036. So we're looking at a large increase in terms of population. So seniors as a group now are healthier and more active, and the seniors of the future are predicted to be among the healthiest in history, which is good news. However, a natural consequence of longer life is that the likelihood of developing chronic conditions and long-term illness increases, which can compromise the prospect of independence. It is this need that the healthcare system of the future must address. Home care services help clients manage their health conditions at home and provide assistance with daily activities. Home care is an integral part of the healthcare we provide to Canadians and one of the most critical elements of an effective system. Some of the care delivered at home is done informally through caregivers, such as family members, friends, or others who are providing unpaid care. However, Canadian governments have significantly expanded home care programming over the last decade, and as a result, the amount of home care provided through personal support workers, or referred to as PSWs, has steadily increased. We're now going to do an online poll. So we'd like to ask the question, how many of you have someone or know someone using the services of a PSW?
All right, so it looks like about 63% of you have someone or know someone using the services of a personal support worker. And as you know, personal support workers are people that actually make a difference. So from helping clients bathe, eat, and take the proper amounts of medication, to being the all-important person that they can confide in and trust, personal support workers play a very important role in restoring people's happiness, health, and dignity. And so as a note for this course, personal support workers are found in many places, long-term care homes, supportive housing, retirement homes, but our project specifically focused on personal support workers providing care in the home. So the challenges of designing a training program to build capacity among Ontario's personal support workers is that this is an extremely diverse workforce. It's diverse in terms of the background and the languages spoken, the geography, so the travel time from client to client is much different in rural areas than it is in urban. Wages are different. It depends on the organization that the personal support worker is working for. The commitment to the profession is diverse, so many are passionate about the care they provide, and some enter because of the low entry requirement. And the training each personal support worker has completed is different. So personal support workers are an unregulated profession. While all PSWs are expected to have the same basic training in order to graduate from a personal support worker program, the overall skills, interests, and abilities are variable. There's no minimum requirement to get into a PSW program in Ontario, and once in a program, while there's a set curriculum, there is variation in how it's delivered across the province. So many clients feel this variable skill, complaining about the lack of standardization in the quality of care provided by personal support workers. The best PSWs are highly sought after, and some clients refuse to see PSWs unless it's the one of their choosing. Many clients experience anxiety about who is behind the door. The challenge is really designing for this incredibly diverse workforce. So when we go into the wants, what we want as the Ideas program at the University of Toronto, when we are considering designing training for PSWs, we want to ensure that it fits with the provincial healthcare agenda. And currently, the provincial healthcare agenda has a focus on quality and quality improvement. As PSWs provide some of the most important care in the whole health system, it is vital that we recognize and support their ongoing education around the delivery of quality care. Currently, PSWs are not enabled to be effective members of the system. The system requires increased capacity of PSWs, so that is the knowledge, skill, and time to be able to engage in the necessary activities that will lead to better quality care for patients receiving care at home.
So what do PSWs really want? We wanted to know, and so we asked, and what we found is that PSWs want practical, engaging, relevant learning that meets the needs of their day-to-day tasks. They need training that will impact their daily work and still falls within their scope of practice. They want training that doesn't take too long to complete because they're really busy with their work. There's no shortage of work. And that can be available on a mobile device, is interactive and engaging.
So the ask for transformative change, the Ontario health system requires increased capacity of all health professionals. That's not just personal support workers, that's clinical healthcare professionals, and that's administrative healthcare professionals. The Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care has invested in quality improvement training for healthcare professionals and has since 2013. And when we looked back to see who's completed that training, we found that there was a very important part of the workforce that was missing, and that was Ontario's PSWs. So the ask was to create a new online quality improvement training course that incorporates the general theory, principles, and best practices of quality improvement with examples, case studies, and learnings that are specifically targeted towards PSWs and like-minded caregivers. So we'd like to ask the group, have you ever been involved in a quality improvement initiative? could vote. Oh, it's open now. All right, so it's pretty significant. Wow, as they keep coming in, it seems about 86% of people in attendance at this webinar have been involved in a quality improvement initiative. So you have a good sense of what quality improvement is all about and why it's important.
So what exactly is quality improvement? I know most of you seem to be aware of what it is, but we'd like to show you a short video that'll walk you through what we feel is a strong statement on what quality improvement's all about.
The systems thinker is a perpetually curious person who never thinks they have the whole answer, but is always willing to know what the next step to take is. If you watch a child, you'll see this happen. Children in their growth and development are innately systems thinkers. They're always trying the next thing. They're probing the material. They're listening to the noise. They're thinking about what the next thing to do is. And they're not in the job of solving problems forever. They're in the job of taking the next step. I think those are elements of what it means to be a system thinker. At the core of it is constant curiosity about a world that you will never understand fully, but you might take the next step to understand a little better.
How to improve seems to boil down to 3 questions in a cycle. Improvement starts by setting an aim. So question number 1 is, what are you going to improve and by how much? So for example, we are going to get 70% of the staff to wash their hands before and after seeing patients by December 1st. Great. We have an aim. So let's start testing some changes, okay? Not so fast. Now you need to ask question 2. How will you know if a change is an improvement? We need to choose some things and measure them. What is doable and reliable, and that will tell us if the changes we are making are leading to an improvement? Is someone documenting doctor or nurse hand washing? Is it self-report? Is it the amount of soap and disinfectant used? Okay, we have an aim, and now we have some measures. Next up is question 3. What changes can you make that will lead to the improvement? To start, we just want to test one change with something called a PDSA cycle. Plan the test, do the test, study the test results, and then act based on those results. Maybe it's new soap dispensers or little bottles of gel. Maybe you read about the study that changed the signage from wash your hands to protect yourself to wash your hands to protect your patients, which resulted in a 3rd improvement over a 2-week period. Maybe it's reward or audit and feedback or asking patients to check. Just pick one and get started. Then you test other changes and the PDSAs just keep rolling. Fine-tuning the change based on what you're learning. Saying to yourself, here are some ways we can improve. Let's try them out by dropping them into our practice in a thoughtful way that fits with our clinic and our patients. And let's measure how we do. Adapt, adopt, or discard. Simple, right? But powerful, and it actually works.
That video is available. If you look it up on YouTube, if you type in Mike Evans and quality improvement, that will be the first video that pops up and you'll be able to take a look at it. It's really well done and kind of gives a high level understanding of why quality improvement is important. And it is publicly available for you. So if you just go to YouTube after this, you'll be able to go through it, no problem.
We'll also be sending you the deck of the slides for whoever would like them, and the link is on the slides as well, so you'll be getting that. All right. So, and it is an excellent video. It was actually inspirational to the design of this program, so that's great.
So, seeing that 86% of you have been involved in a quality improvement initiative, what would you say is the most challenging part of developing a quality improvement program? And so we've seen some answers already. Narrowing the scope, absolutely. The aim is critical for something that you can actually accomplish. Resources, often quality improvement is done at the side of the desk. It's not kind of within scope of practice, scope again, resources to implement change, absolutely, and time. So the answers that we received, we understand. Yeah, you've nailed them. Those are common challenges to actually implementing quality improvement. So we experienced all of those challenges as well, and it was a big task. Our goal was to transfer the common language and approach that healthcare professionals who are involved in quality improvement are using to something that was relevant to the day-to-day task and scope of work for personal support workers. We knew that we needed to engage personal support workers, that this had to be a course that was for and by personal support workers, and so we got together a stakeholder committee. And at the stakeholder committee, we realized that some of the standard tools and methodology of quality improvement needed to be adjusted to be relevant for PSWs. One of the big things we realized was that the PDSA model, the Plan, Do, Study, Act model, which is the cornerstone of quality improvement, would be more useful if it was tweaked. It needed to be tweaked to account for the full cycle of a PSW that provides care at home, from the preparation stage to the stage when the PSW reports back to their manager supervisor on how the visit went. So we needed to take the PDSA and make it more relevant. And this is the model that we came up with. You'll see that the new model still contains PDSA. We didn't want to take that away because this is the language and this is the approach that all healthcare professionals are using. But it needed something else. We added new elements that are reflective of PSW's daily work. So let's walk through the model and really get a sense of what it entails.
So PSWs have been described as the eyes and ears of frontline care. Truly, they spend the most time, especially in the community setting, with clients. So they are often in the best vantage point to be able to alert other individuals if health status changes in any way. So the added elements, prepare, observe, and tell, they were really added to ensure that the PSWs could see their work interconnecting with the PDSA process. So we wanted them to be able to see it as a continuum versus a new thing they would have to add on to what they were already doing. So for example, a PSW going to see a client would, in the first stage, prepare. They would prepare by reviewing the care plan, which this is often a part of normal practice. Then the second step in observe, they would be observing their client. So when they're with them, they would be trying to determine if there are any changes in a client's health status that should be addressed. They would also be observing the environment to see if there are any safety hazards that could be a tripping and falling risk for any of their clients. And then this observation would lead directly into the PDSA cycle that Gillian will discuss more in depth.
So then we get into the traditional PDSA. So plan, if there are changes to the client that are considered to be a decline that the PSW has observed, like let's say a negative behavioral change in a client, the PSW must plan how they are going to address it. It goes on to do. Once the PSW has planned what they are going to do as a means to address a change in their client, they have to implement the solution that they think will lead to an improvement. In the study phase, not all things that the PSW does is going to lead to an improvement for their clients. Some things will make it better, some things will make it worse. The PSW must study through observation and through interaction and communication with their client and measure if what they did actually led to a positive change. Act. Based on what they study, they can determine if their solution led to an improvement and act by applying it again, either to the same clients or to different clients.
So The last step of TELL we felt was important as it specifically highlights the importance of communicating your findings to the care team to ensure clients receive the best care possible. This could also lead to a transfer of knowledge that could be applied to other clients as well. So telling is really important.
So now we're going to look at the 5 must-dos for creating learning for a workforce in motion. What we did, which we really appreciated as Redwood, is when we sat with the team from Ideas, is they brought in a number of subject matter experts, including a number of people who actually were out on the street working with people, working as PSWs. So it really gave us a good insight for what this was all about and what the need was out there. So it was really important for us to fully understand that in order to work together as a team and really deliver the best product with the strongest learning that we can do. So in terms of how we design something, because of the nature of the force, like I mentioned before, they're always on the road, they go from house to house in different houses. Really important that we go mobile. Really important that we can get it on every device. This program is fully responsive. And when we say mobile, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to take my learning and shrink it down. That's not how mobile works. You really have to understand how to design for mobile so that it's effective learning on any of the devices, whether they look at a desktop, tablet, or phone. And by making it fully responsive, what we used was the ADAPT platform, which is something we've used a fair bit. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with ADAPT, but it truly is a wonderful responsive platform, and it really needs very little tweaking from one device to the other. It just automatically reshapes everything. So that was the key. The next must-do is Go Micro. So really best to chunk your learning bits and keep them small, and it doesn't matter what order they go in, not necessarily, but the learner today, with the limited amount of time they have, if you chunk the learning into small, snackable bites, as we call it, it's much easier for them to absorb it, to learn at their own pace, and still finish the program. So again, with micro learning, I've seen cases where people just take a bunch of modules and just throw them in a big module and say, here, just take these one at a time. Structure is still the important thing. Create little micro modules, but they have to fit into a big piece of the puzzle. They are pieces of the puzzle that all come together, and structure is really important in terms of having that flow, having that consistent message and that consistent learning throughout. So next we have, as our next learning, Go Anytime. And Go Anytime is basically make the learning accessible to these people 24/7. There are people who are on the road, there are people who often work shift. So really important that they can do the learning when it's convenient for them. And that was something that we took into consideration. It's actually hosted on Redwood's LMS, which we call an LPE, a Learning Performance Engine, which responds very well to mobile learning as well. And they were able to access it from their homes, from wherever, at any time that was convenient for them. And that's something key when you have that kind of a workforce. And again, very simple, user-friendly. We're working with people with very, very varying degrees of computer literacy. So you really want to make sure that everything you do is extremely simple for them to go through to maneuver.
It's also really important to go relevant. So in quality improvement, you have to address a polarity, which is you want to keep something standard, and so you want to teach the same principles, the same approach, use the same language, and you want to make it customized to the audience that is receiving that input. So it's standard and customized. You have to make quality improvement training meaningful to your target audience. So we wanted to make this meaningful to the jobs and PSWs. We took evidence-based principles of quality improvement and we customized it to fit with the scope of practice of our target audience. We used a lot of stories and examples that our stakeholder committee, who are personal support workers themselves, gave to us. So they really helped to create storylines to ensure that they reflected what they do when they go and deliver care in a home. So putting it out to the group, another poll. What do you think the final must-do is?
No takers?
Oh, there we go. But excited to hear. Nice. Okay. Someone's excited to hear, but they're not sure.
Implement your training, I think is what somebody said there. Excellent. So the final must do is you must go again. So what does that mean? Really, it's about getting people bought in, signing up to do the modules and engaging them. This is something that we're still working at, and this population has offered us some unique challenges that I'll describe a little bit. So our PSWs in general are not governed by a central body or a college or other access point to frontline staff. This has made it difficult to get directly to the PSWs. So building awareness, as I said, it has offered a unique set of challenges. So our approach to facilitate awareness and uptake has truly been multi-pronged. So we engaged multiple stakeholders from the inception. So we had people from the Canadian Home Care Association, representatives from U of T, from the IDEAS program, and frontline workers to increase awareness and sort of build that excitement about what may be coming. We did email blasts to CEOs and senior staff across the PSW sector, and that includes providing it to colleges that we know offer PSW training, service provider organizations who would be providing services in the community, could be long-term home care settings and retirement homes, and community service sector providers. And one thing that we felt was really important as the team was to have them be offered free of cost, because we didn't want it to be a barrier for anyone to be able to take the courses. We didn't want them to not take it because there was a cost. So after implementing this strategy, we've recently done a refresh, and our second phase of engagement is really about communicating the value of the modules through stories. So we're gathering stories to see how the modules have actually impacted the care that the PSWs provide. And then we're looking at a strategy where we have in-person meetings with leaders at service provider organizations. So versus just an email blast, to help increase the uptake and potentially discuss incorporating the modules as a mandatory exercise or incorporating the modules into new staff orientation. So what a lot of that boils down to is I think a communication adage of 100 ways in 100 days. So really trying to find a way to connect with the audience and get them to sign in and take the modules. We also found in our regroup that when people were using the modules, sometimes it was in actually a group learning environment. So we're exploring the ability to provide certification for group learning sessions through sort of an attendance that's taken and then submitted. Because the end product of taking the modules is that you do get a certificate that is from U of T. So it's trying to leverage that value add of it being a resume builder as well. So increasing awareness is still a work in progress, but we do believe that the online modules could be used for other training specific to the work of PSWs that will improve their access to coursework. Topics are many. Some could include providing information on dementia, palliative care, and other topics that would be relevant to PSWs, which could ultimately lead to improved care for clients, which is better for the healthcare system overall.
Okay, so the course. After we went through all of that, we arrived at a final product that we're really happy with. The course is based on quality improvement methodology, but it is customized to be relevant and meaningful for PSWs delivering home care in Ontario. It's based on engaging storylines and characters. The characters are diverse and represent both the client and professional population in Ontario. The course is highly interactive and is full of animation that really adds to making it exciting. We have videos of real PSWs sharing their experiences and their lessons learned from working in the field. There is great evidence to suggest that peer-to-peer learning is stuff that really sticks in learners' minds, so we wanted to make sure that that was included. We want to make sure that you can check out the course for yourself. It is free, as we said. It's publicly available. The modules are done in bite-sized chunks, so there are 4 modules at 15 minutes apiece, bringing the total course to 1 hour. And at the end, you're able to print a certificate of completion from the University of Toronto, which is a huge incentive and hopefully a resume builder for the user. But we really hope that you check it out and get to know the characters and the storylines and what we mean by being highly engaged, highly interactive, and user-friendly. So Nicole just asked how many modules. There are 4 modules, and each module is 15 minutes. So the entire course comes in at an hour, and that was really what we heard from our stakeholder committee was keep it short. We don't have a lot of time, and so we listened.
Great, so everyone has the link. If you want a copy of this presentation, please let us know. We'd be happy to forward that and get that to you.
Sorry, Erin, I see you have a question. Can you speak a little more about the animation? I'm just wondering specifically what kind of information you're looking for. And while you type your question, I can tell you how it was used. So we used animation, and I was not the animation developer, let's be clear. But we used animation to illustrate different scenarios with reoccurring clients and to sort of build and demonstrate how each of the 7 steps of the PDSA cycle could be applied in a PSW client interaction.
So basically what we were trying to do is put the PSW in a situation online that they would also face in real life, so it would resonate with them. Here's what could happen in one of your situations. How do you handle it? And so that's what we did, is reenact little scenarios. This is how I love the animation work.
And Erin, I see your question. Did you offer that service or need outsource or YouTube? And Redwood offered that service. They created the animation in-house. They booked the voiceovers. They did all of the animation. We did not link to YouTube or outsource it. It was done in-house as a new product. So it's a new value add that was created by Redwood.
And they were excellent partners to work with.
Yeah, so Lori asked, did you have feedback from users on how they liked the module? So we have done 2 big pushes. This launched in November. We did a big e-blast to kind of as many people as we could in the target audience. And right away had 150 enrolled and people taking the course. We got great feedback. So wow, thanks for thinking of us. I don't think personal support workers kind of get new and engaging training all of the time. So it was like, wow, this is great. This is free. This is just for us. Managers and directors said, thanks for doing this. This is something that I want to put into place as something when people come in for orientation, we'd like them to take. We did a second e-blast, and again, right away, 150 kind of new people signed up and ready to go and take the course. So the feedback has been very positive. I'd say one of the things we've heard most is, okay, what's next? So you've done training for personal support workers, specifically delivering home care. What about the personal support worker in supportive housing, the one in retirement homes, the one in long-term care? Have you thought about expanding for them? So Nicole, total right now, we've got 300 registered, and they're at various points of completing. I think a third have actually completed and printed their certificate. And just as a reminder, this is not a mandatory course yet. This is something that personal support workers are doing, on their own time because their managers, might have recommended it. Going forward, I think we'll see the numbers of who actually completed the course go up once we get into our second phase of working with leaders to make it something that is mandatory or part of orientation.
And to date, CCACs haven't required their employees to take the course, but they've asked, I've been asked to present at one CCAC in particular, and they are aware of the course content, but we've also targeted the service provider organizations that typically hold the contracts with the CCACs and would directly employ the PSWs. So we have taken a multifaceted approach, but again, it has been difficult to get right to the frontline user. But we're confident that with continuing to communicate it, really being able to share what the value is, that will continue to have an increase in numbers.
I think there's a question for Redwood. Did you handle the communication strategies for the client? And so the answer is no. I mean, Redwood is very helpful in kind of setting us up for success, but IHP&E at the University of Toronto, the IDEAS program, Carol Ann from Closing the Gap Healthcare, we're the in to the target audience. We're the ones who kind of set up the strategy for communicating, understand the value of quality improvement, understand it from a personal support worker's perspective. So Redwood's there to kind of create a great product that we're able to then communicate and get people to buy into. Great. I think I want to pick up on one more thing that's been difficult in our communication. There is no great way to get the contact information of who identifies as a personal support worker in Ontario. There's no PSW registry. There is no PSW association. So we can't get to the user directly. Our communications efforts are to get to them through their directors, through their managers, through their leaders. I think for other groups, if you do have those lists, you have those associations that you can reach out to and kind of get right to the person that you're trying to get to take the program, where with PSWs and the way that it's set up, we have to go through a different route to get to them.
Which has been challenging, but really interesting.
Yeah, but so the Personal Support Network of Ontario is trying, that's right. So I believe there used to be, Yeah,
There was a registry.
There was a registry.
And then it stopped about a year and a half ago. And it was going through legislation in terms of being mandatory, and then it stopped it. But I don't have the background information on that.
Yeah, thanks, Lori. That's true. I think that there's there's a lot of people who are interested in getting personal support workers organized and getting that information collected.
Absolutely.
And again, that would help the whole goal of consistency if it was easier to reach out to these people.
Absolutely. I see Nicole is typing. Nicole said, who should I contact if I get this course approved for continuing education units with national governing bodies? BRNA, CVRP. So that's a good question. Nicole, do you mind spelling out those acronyms for me?
And while Nicole's doing that, does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, so Lori asked, do you have any key indicators that you are watching and monitoring? Any specific behavioral changes you are looking for in the PSWs? I think that the goal would be to work with managers and directors to do that monitoring. So we get, statistics on how many people have taken the course, what they think of it, but that behavioral change is going to be seen by the clients, by managers, by directors. What we are looking for is increased confidence. That's something that we've heard from our personal support workers. They want to feel confident in an approach to make change. So increased confidence, increased reporting, increased peer-to-peer learning. Oh, I did this and it seemed to lead to an improvement. Maybe you could try this. I think that that's something that managers and directors of organizations who make this mandatory, those are some of the indicators that they'd be looking for in their workforce.
And then another so work-life pulse, we would be looking at that with regards to PSWs to see if they feel more empowered and engaged. And then as a proxy measure, we're always looking at client satisfaction, which if you have research shows that if you have people who are more engaged, satisfied in their job, feel empowered, that it generally, there's a positive correlation with increased client satisfaction, which is very important for service provider organizations because that too is monitored on a provincial level and publicly reported.
So Nicole has spelled out the acronyms. So we have the Vocational Rehabilitation Association, the College of Vocational Rehabilitation Professionals, and the National Institute of Disability Management Research. And Nicole says that each one of those organizations has competencies related to this topic, and this can be a great marketing tool to encourage participation to take in this course. That's fantastic. This course was designed for PSWs and like-minded caregivers, and much of our marketing and communications efforts have focused specifically on PSWs, specifically in Ontario. So these national governing bodies of like-minded caregivers where there are similar competencies, that is fantastic, and I would suggest reaching out to me to talk about moving that forward and talking about what that means and what approval looks like and how we can help you with that. And so Nicole, I think maybe I'll give my email address. So we'll just type in my email address so you have it. It's Jillian.Ritzy. Yeah, sorry, this is Jillian Ritzy. As I mentioned before, I'm the director of the IDEAS program at the University of Toronto, which is the Quality Improvement Training Program for Healthcare Professionals. So my email address is jillian.ritzy@utoronto.ca. And if you're interested in working with national governing bodies to get this course mandatory or to offer this course to those people, please let me know.
Erin has a question about how long do you think the shelf life of the e-learning will be? For example, will legislation changes affect it? So I think that the module truly is built on quality improvement science that has been around for a long time. And if anything, I think that legislation would support more of this type of education. So I think the foundations of it are very strong and have been used for a long time, and I don't see that going away anytime soon.
I think so. The IDEAS program and our quality improvement methodology is based on decades and decades of work. The program that we actually borrowed heavily from is Intermountain Healthcare in Utah, who has been offering quality improvement training for 20 years with great results. So the foundation, the evidence-based science of quality improvement has been around and is not going to change. And it's projected that PSWs are going to be providing home care more and more. And so we hope that this course has a long shelf life. And Erin says Accreditation Canada might be another resource for you to get the word out there. Yeah, thank you for that. That's a great suggestion. Thanks, Erin.
Great. Well, thank you for all your questions. And I think we have
Car. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Lori.
Great. Thank you for all your questions. It's been very engaging. If you're interested in getting a recording and a copy of the slide deck, please feel free to let us know, and we'll gladly send that to you. Or if you have any further questions, we have my email as well as Jillian's, and I think Caroline's is on the slide deck as well. If not, I'll put it there before I send the deck out, and you can feel free to ask questions.
And please take a look at the course. It's an hour of your time, and it will give you a better sense of what it's all about, the learning competencies, the interactivity, and provide us with your feedback. That would be great.
And you can only look at it if you like at 15-minute at a time intervals. So
with the biscuit.
With the biscuit, absolutely. And a latte.
And so, Nicola, when did you start sending the course out? So the course launched on November 1st, 2016, so about 4 months ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.